Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we like movies and TV shows, but we don't really know what we're talking about, but we're going to talk about it anyway. I'm your host, Joseph. With me is my co-host, Ian.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And Christian.
How's it going?
And this week, for our DC Cinematic Universe Spectacular, we've got a very special guest, Jason Hurt.
How's it going?
Jason Hurt is our resident comic book expert that we all go to for comic
and
book
movie
nerding.
expert.
He knows way more than all of us.
Yeah, I feel like he knows more than me about movies.
I mean, as long as it's not a marketable skill, I know a lot about it.
Seems like a good way to go through life.
It's worked out really great for me so far.
This week we're going to take a look at the DC Cinematic Universe, starting with Man of Steel, and try and figure out what went wrong comparatively to Marvel, who have been knocking it out of the park about the same time frame ever since.
To take like a deep dive into the DC universe in general and see where we think it could go better too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Jehu, since this was your idea, I'm going to let you take the lead on what you think.
Yeah, what went wrong?
Well, see,
Where did it
I'm
go
going to go back before Man of Steel to where I think it went wrong.
Yeah, how do we get to a point with no Superman?
First big mistake, and even though I love the movie that came out of it, a lot of people don't, but I do. Letting Christopher Nolan completely close off his Batman trilogy was a bad idea. They should have left that open to where you could have said this Batman was that Batman, or at least implied it. And I know there's people who are like, well, the Ben Affleck Batman, maybe he's Michael Keaton Batman, but you just got done with this super popular version of Batman that everybody agrees is awesome. And one of them people agree is the best superhero movie. And maybe even one of the best movies ever.
Yep.
So letting them just cut that off, I think, was a bad idea. The second thing that got us to where we're there, before we even get Man of Steel, is Green Lantern being such a mess. Because you could tell they tried to start a cinematic universe there. They introduced Amanda Waller. They wanted Amanda Waller to be their Nick Fury. And it just sucked. They tried to do 3 movies in one movie, and everybody blames Ryan Reynolds, but it's not his fault. It's just a mess.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan Reynolds has gotten a lot of mileage since then.
Yeah,
out of that movie.
He's gotten more success out of making fun of that movie failing than he would have gotten if that movie succeeded.
Correct.
So it worked out great for him. But I still think that was... So at this point, you do that. You think about the Marvel Universe kicked off the same year as The Dark Knight.
2008?
2008. So if they would have kept that going, they would have maybe been in about the same spot, maybe even a little ahead, because that was the second movie. But then Green Lantern's an abysmal failure, so they're that much further behind at that point. And then they try Man of Steel, which is where they start with the biggest mistake, Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder, a guy who does a pretty good job if he has a blueprint he has to follow. Dawn of the Dead, Watchmen, 300, all pretty fun movies. But, as soon as you let him go anywhere out of lines, color out inside of lines, it's just a fucking mess. What was that movie with the girls?
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch.
That's a mess. Like, they gave that guy a franchise after that movie. What were they thinking from that point, He should have been done with that movie.
I think one of the biggest problems is they just had no Kevin Feige, Someone who
Well, I think they thought Zack Snyder was going to be their Kevin
I think they thought that, and they were wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Feige's not like a filmmaker, though. They needed like a decision maker at the very top. And if they really thought Zack Snyder was that, then that is 100%. They needed a comic book based person, someone who's like tuned into, Geoff Johns came in later, and they, but he, I thought he made it any better. But you know what I mean? They tried, if they would have started someone in the beginning, like someone, I don't know, like...
Well, I think they thought maybe Christopher Nolan was going to do that,
and
too.
he
did produce, right?
Yeah, he was
produced,
attached to Man of Steel, but he didn't want to do it.
And,
that's the thing.
But also, I mean, even though he made 3 pretty great Batman movies, he actually didn't know a lot of Batman.
That's what I mean. He wanted no parts of a Marvel.
He was surprised
DC
that Batman didn't kill. He was like, how am I going to make this movie if this guy doesn't kill anyone? So, yeah, there's been like no guy in charge that should be the guy.
You need a captain steering the ship.
Yeah. So just for context, Kevin Feige is the captain of the Marvel ship. He's not a director of any of the movies, but he's just kind of a head honcho,
MCU,
who oversees the movies, the continuity between the movies, the direction of the movies, and all that kind of stuff.
He's got his hands in casting.
I don't know how long has he been there? Like
from the start?
Wasn't it from the very start?
Oh yeah,
from Iron Man 1?
This is his brain.
Kevin Feige started off with Geoff Johns as like an assistant to Richard Donner.
Oh, right on. I didn't know that.
So he was working with Richard Donner during the Superman movies. Like, he's been around comic book movies for a long, long time. He helped Fox get the X-Men universe off the ground, which the two X-Men movies that are generally well-liked, X1 and X2, he was an executive producer on both of those. And it was at that point when Marvel decided they were going to start their own film studio, and they went and took him from 20th Century Fox because he had this experience behind the scenes doing all the, the paperwork, pencil pushing, and yet he was a huge comic book guy. And yeah, DC doesn't make that decision. DC took a guy who, in Zack Snyder's credit, he had made a couple of comic book graphic novel movies that were really well liked and were fairly faithful adaptations.
You're right. He really just doesn't want to say that they're good.
I mean, they're dated now. 300 was good at its time. It's dated now.
I am a huge Watchmen fan. It's hard for me to say Watchmen's a good movie with the last 30 minutes being as drastically different in the film than it is in the graphic novel.
I enjoy Watchmen a lot, but it is, I don't even want to give it that caveat of, well, this is why it's kind of bad. I enjoy watching it, but it didn't perform like they wanted it to. They thought it was going to be, this will be another Dark Knight. We'll just blow the doors off the place.
That's what I mean. Why did he get this? Because 300 made some money, but other than that, he didn't. None of these movies perform reasonably well.
300 made a lot.
That's
for what it was filmed for sure.
Yeah, but after that,
I think
he was on the downslope, and he gets the biggest shot, Man of Steel.
I think it's exactly what Christian said in that. Who's the guy who's made movies about comic books before?
Yep.
Oh, Zack Snyder's made a couple.
Yep.
Good enough.
I think there is one other issue here that DC decided to do, and it plays into the Zack Snyder card, is after Dark Knight does so well and Green Lantern does so poorly, the studios understood it to be people want dark adult comic book movies.
100%. They thought everything needed to be Batman.
Yes, exactly. And while there is an audience for that, for sure, at the end of the day, you're still making movies where your primary audience is going to be children dragging their parents to it. And it doesn't have to be a kid's movie for that to be the case. But I have children. I can't let them watch Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, one of the things I think Marvel realized pretty early on is something like Captain America probably isn't going to make as much money as Iron Man does. But if you're not making a different movie out of that, why make it? Mm-hmm. So, and they were building something by having all these different type things going on, and maybe you don't get the immediate payoff on it, but you get the long-term payoff.
For sure.
Yeah.
The Marvel movies are a good example of a smart investment almost. They weren't paying the actors a ton of money.
Right.
They weren't getting big name directors. They were spending $100 million maybe, and to eventually where they get the point where they can make 2 back-to-back Avengers movies for $500 million, and they're going to make $4 billion off of it. DC just went balls deep off the bat, and with a formula that was imperfect to begin with.
That's the thing. DC, they didn't lay the foundation. Going forward to Batman vs. Superman. Batman vs. Superman, you kill Superman in your second movie. If you're trying to do a universe, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? You just met Superman and you're going to kill him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Batman and Superman just met. They're supposed to be good friends. They just try to do too much. Especially in that movie. They squeezed Death of Superman. They squeezed Dark Knight. It's
Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, Dark Knight Returns. You know what I mean?
Even if you go back to Green Lantern, they didn't learn from their mistakes in that. Because they tried to make Batman and Superman 3 or 4 different movies.
Yep, they were trying to run before they could walk.
Yeah.
In multiple movies.
Well, and that's kind of what happened is I don't know if they were attempting to create a cinematic universe, because I don't feel like the concept of the cinematic universe existed until Marvel had made the Avengers.
Right.
And so I mean I don't even think that was the original. I'm sure they wanted to do some cross-pollination of heroes, but they didn't have this grand plan in place. And once they realized that was possible, they were way too far behind. And instead of just making good movies and making making movies that people will pay money to see and making characters that people will like, they're we need to catch up real fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Well, I this was a point I was going to save till later, but it feels like a good time.
Okay, Trick, go for it.
If you were to go to my comic book collection,
I would never want to.
And look through my long boxes, you would find more Marvel stuff. If you were going to look on my bookshelf, you would find more DC stuff.
Yeah, because you're a DC guy. Superman's your favorite character.
Superman, favorite fictional character of all characters of all time. But what I'm saying with that is DC is a lot better at telling self-contained stories. Mm-hmm. Batman and Superman are actually good for making movies. They're better for telling a story with a beginning, middle, and an end. Whereas Spider-Man or Captain America are soap operas. A part of what you're selling is the ongoing component.
Yep.
And they really would have been better off like landing a few like self-contained stories before they tried to, on their like second movie out, have Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, like Batman vs. Superman should have been straight Dark Knight Rises. If you're going to go that way. And then Man of Steel 2.
Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Returns. And if you want to do Death of Superman, that's Man of Steel 2. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to, like, it didn't make any sense. It's just too much.
Well, and it also led to a situation where all the promotion for Justice League didn't fucking have Superman in it. The Avengers were the Avengers.
Yep. Not only did
the Justice League was not the Justice
at all,
League.
but then they also already told you he was alive.
Right.
So it made no fucking sense to not put him on the poster.
There was no upside to it. They lost using him in promotion, and they lost the fucking surprise.
And I mean, look,
that's marketing. That's what I'm saying. It's WB owns DC Universe, and that's what I'm saying. That's where the head of the whole thing is. Where it's there was no leadership at the top because that's marketing is fucked up. That's production that's every aspect. You know what I mean? They messed up on everything
except for casting. I would say they've done a really good job.
That was the next point I was getting to, and that's what got me thinking about this to begin with is that. The part that they think they got wrong was casting?
No.
Yep.
Like, they casted fine.
Yep.
Even the most controversial casting of all, Ben Affleck, turned out fucking great.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I love Ben Affleck,
He's the best.
Batman. He's just in shitty Batman movies.
Yep. He's the best part of Batman vs. Superman.
He totally is.
100%.
He looks so cool. Some of it's unintentionally funny. The part where he's holding the kid and looking up angry, that shit just kills me.
But
every
that scene
time.
where he takes down the whoever has Superman's mom, like that's like the best 2 minutes of Batman action.
The warehouse scene, I will die on this hill, is the best Batman scene in any Batman
100%.
movie.
Yeah, it's 100%.
It is everything you want Batman to be. And you're right. It's so unfortunate because very likely Ben Affleck won't be back. And I get there's a lot of like behind the scenes drama with him, his alcoholism and everything like that. But you can't settle your dispute with Henry Cavill, which if you don't like Man of Steel or the brooding Superman or whatever, the Superman you get in the last 20 minutes of Justice League proves Henry Cavill can do Superman correctly.
Well, and even in Man of Steel, which at least I know Ian knows, is a movie I fucking hate.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
There's little glimpses of him being so right. The part where he's talking about the S and stuff. And and that's a scene that, could easily turn me off, because if there's one thing I'm sick of, it's superheroes and superhero movies talking about hope. We have nailed that fucking point. We've got that. But the part where he talks about the symbol and the river and hope and stuff like that, that's fucking Superman. That's as good as Christopher Reeve. But he gets that about 5 seconds of movie.
I think the problem with Henry Cavill has always been the director, not Henry Cavill himself.
Yeah, no, totally.
Well, it's also he's never been written as Clark Kent. Like he's
never Clark Kent.
He's Kal-El or Superman
Right.
the entire time. I mean, that's not his fault at all.
Or digging into, I feel like, a bigger underlying issue here is that where you talked about with the branding and the killing off Superman and Batman vs. Superman. I feel like for several years now, like maybe decades now, Superman's gotten a bad rap among general public, not among comic book fans. And I feel like Warner Brothers knows that, and I feel like they were scared to do Superman
Correctly.
Well, correct.
Especially after Bryan Singer's Superman is a boring piece of shit.
Correct.
Right. Well, I mean, okay, here's a problem that Superman has that no other character has, and I don't really know why. Superman always has to be relevant. Whenever they're talking about making a new Superman movie, it's like, well, is Superman relevant? Like, nobody asks that about Batman. Nobody asks that about Thor, about Spider-Man. It's something exclusive to Superman.
Yeah, it's because he's very 1920s.
I mean, do we really want to get
Scout.
deep down into that one? But carry on.
What do you mean?
I feel like there's a point to be made there, but
I definitely have a point.
Yeah,
which is this. The stupid part about that is there should be a Superman movie in production, not just right now, but a year ago, because Superman is more relevant right now than he's been in probably 40 fucking years. Superman is an immigrant who's also a crusading journalist, and his arch nemesis is a xenophobic millionaire.
It's true.
Like, is that not the story for our times? Whatever side of that you call, and I've known you guys for years. I don't know any of your all's politics because I largely am completely unfucking interested in talking about politics. It's pissing in the wind.
Yeah.
But that is particularly if they went with doing President Lex, which is a thing they did with Lex Luthor. That they could just print money doing that shit.
Yep. See, and that gets me to where I want to talk about how ways to fix it.
Yeah.
Like, I've crusaded on this podcast, I think, before, and I've said it. The best way is you take what's worked for them, which is the animated movies, and put 2 Batman movies into play. Put a straight-up Dark Knight Returns, put a straight-up Batman Begin, or Batman Year One. You know what I mean? Put up a President Lex Superman story. Put in there's no reason you can't have 2 Superman casts at the same time.
Right.
Also there's no reason you can't have 2 Batmans cast. Do an old Batman and a young Batman. You would make so much more money if you made these like Assault on Arkham. That's Die Hard with Batman. Turn that into a fucking movie.
I mean,
it'll make you so much fucking money.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
comic book the shit out of it. You know what I mean? Make it kind of MCU tone, like really comic booky. Lean into it and just have him go villain to villain in the prison. That would make so much money.
That's in general one of my big problems with Batman is they've never done a movie with just all the villains in it. Just do a movie with all the villains in it. Stop doing 2 at a time and killing them off.
But do 2 Batman movies. Like that's what I think. Like they pump out the animated movies. What, like 3 a year?
About, yeah.
And they use different voice Like I think we're smart enough now. Like with social media, like the word would get around.
Even without social media, that's like the whole point of superheroes is that they're like they have an iconography to them. It doesn't matter who's in the suit. You know by the way that they look and the things that they do who they are. Well, you don't need the same person.
This is going to get far off track, but I swear it's coming back. Do you guys know about the other Casino Royale movie that was the Pierce Brosnan and Quentin Tarantino thing? Wouldn't it have been fucking cool if they made both those movies at the same time? Like, just made both those movies and put them both out. Everybody wouldn't have seen it. Everybody would have gotten into the thing of there's 2 of the same movie coming out, and one of them's directed by Quentin Tarantino. Let's go see that shit.
Yep.
I mean, I think the same thing would work with a superhero movie, and maybe that's what they're going to do with these 2 Joker movies. It's just that these 2 Joker movies are going to suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a general problem, and it kind of goes back to what we talked about, and I don't feel like that resolution, and it goes to the Superman issue as well, has actually been solved yet. And the reason why I say it's still a problem is because everything we're getting from here on out, almost everything, revolves around Gotham. You're getting 2 Joker movies. You're getting a Harley Quinn movie. You're getting a Birds of Prey movie. You're getting the Matt Reeves Batman movie. And why is that? Well, Gotham is dark and gritty, and DC thinks we like dark and gritty, and that's why their Superman doesn't work as well, because it's not Superman. It's dark and gritty Superman. It's depressed Superman. Where if you want to have those Gotham stories and you want to have dark and gritty, well, then you need this uplifting character of Superman to balance that out.
Right.
But they don't want to do that. They only want to make these adult themed dark.
Well, going back to Zack Snyder, I believe that Zack Snyder only read comics from 1985 to 1989.
Probably.
And that was what he believed comic books should be, and that's what they built this whole thing on. Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, John Byrne's Superman.
Everything by Frank Miller, as we know. Yeah.
The thing is, those things were cool as the exception to the rule.
Yes.
They weren't cool as just, Watchmen's just... anybody who says, Watchmen, you've never read a comic, here reading a Watchmen, that's idiotic. Watchmen is a comic book about comics and a reaction to comics. Making that your first thing is ridiculous. And they tried to make this whole universe Watchmen, but stupid.
Yeah. And I think you're right. Like, the dark and gritty we don't like, and what you're saying is, like, the 2 most successful, like, Wonder Woman is not that dark and gritty. It was their most successful one. Like Shazam, it looks like the one I'm most excited for because it has it has an MCU tone.
It looks fun.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. This is probably my strangest take on it. Their biggest problem right now of getting this fixed is Wonder Woman.
Yeah, they don't want to toss her away. They don't want to toss her away. Yeah, they don't want to toss her away.
You can't get rid of it.
And there's also here's my other hot take on this. Wonder Woman's not really that great.
No. Well,
there was parts of it that are fun.
That's not a hot take here.
There's parts of it that's fun. Everybody says her take on Wonder Woman's very Christopher Reeve. I honestly think it's more kind of Hank Hill. Like, it's like, how the plot to every episode of King of the Hill that focuses on Hank is that Hank's never stupid. He's always kind of the smartest guy in the room, but he's naive.
Yeah.
And he encounters something where people don't solve problems in his practical way, and he just can't understand it. That was her take on Wonder Woman.
Yeah, is that her fault or is that the direct? Is that Patty Jenkins? Like, is that
it's probably
story
Patty
crafting?
Jenkins, but here's my point to this. I think that Wonder Woman 2 will be good, and I think it doesn't do as well.
I agree with that.
I think Black Panther was a history-making moment, and everybody went to it, and everybody enjoyed being part of history, and it was a good movie. Everybody will go back and see the second one.
Yeah.
Same thing is true of Wonder Woman, except that, even though they enjoyed being part of history, I don't think anybody really in their heart believes that the last 40 minutes of that movie wasn't boring as piss.
I would say this: Black Panther should be the standard going forward, and it's such a high bar because Black Panther handles real world issues, plus being an excellent comic book movie.
Yep.
I mean, great.
I watched
cast.
that last week.
It's such a hard bar, but you're right. It's the model that Wonder Woman should follow,
right?
And it's probably not. I do think Wonder Woman 2 will be better than Wonder Woman
2 will be good, but I'm just saying I don't think that they can't have the history-making moment twice.
Yes,
and I think that's all that sold the tickets on that because the movie itself was sort of lackluster.
I do think you hit it on the head though. Gal Gadot, and we'll see when this Aquaman movie comes out with Jason Momoa. If people respond well to that movie as well, they're going to be like, how do you abandon it? Because you have parts that people like that you could build off of, but then how do you go back and ignore what has already come before? The simple thing is, I think you just say, screw it, and just don't address it.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
That's my solution to fixing this universe is keep the things that work
and get rid of things that don't.
Get rid of the things that don't, and then just plow on. Don't try
put out a box set starting at Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah. I think the problem with that is going to be is that their simplest solution to fixing things without the people who make the decision saying, oh, we fucked up, is, oh, we need to change some actors.
Yeah.
They're not going to say, oh, wow, we made bad decisions before day one on this. They're going to say, oh, yeah, Henry Cavill sucks at this, let's fire him.
Here's a question for you. Do you think, like Jeff Johns, do you think he was fired prematurely?
I think if he would have been given the chance to run, he probably would have done a good job.
I think so,
don't think he ever was, and I think he was scapegoat.
I think the only movie you actually see his fingerprints on is Wonder Woman.
I think you're probably right.
I think what you see in Justice League was 90% of it is Joss Whedon trying to retcon Zack Snyder.
I mean, 100%, that's a movie fighting with itself. And that's the best movie they've done.
Joseph and I tend to defend Justice League more than the average bear.
I hate Justice League.
I had fun in it, but it's a mess.
Yes.
I'll still say it's fairly cohesive for two really different directors and one of them being brought in at the last second. But I understand. I still enjoyed it.
I can never make it through.
I will also say Danny Elfman's score is way better than people give it credit for. I don't want to get shat on so much.
CGI, the villain, I'll always remember.
That's why Danny Elfman gets shit on.
The Family Guy culture. Ruining
Let's turn this into a takedown of Family. That's fine.
So the question is, how do you fix it?
Well, I mean, I've got like a few takes on that.
Yeah, what do you think?
My first thing was kind of what I was saying earlier. I think their idea, is they're going to try to do Flashpoint, and that's the worst idea. Flashpoint is exactly the kind of story they don't need to do.
It's the same one they've already done.
It just wallows in what they've already done. All that does is fix the nuts and bolts of erasing history.
Can I interrupt just for a second?
Yeah.
The counterpoint, at least if I'm a Warner Brothers exec to that, is if I said, name me the 5 most popular DC stories of all time, you're probably going to say Dark Knight Returns, Death of Superman, Blackest Night, Flashpoint. You know what I mean? Like the ones that most people know. And what's the thing in all of those? People die. In every one of those stories, except for maybe Dark Knight Returns, people die in every single one of them.
I mean, that is true. But, I mean, first of all, there would have been a point where I would have said that any comic book movie is not going to be as good as a mediocre everyday comic book. And then Civil War happened. Civil War, they took what was largely the same idea and made it so much better. Mm-hmm. So they could do Blackest Night, but just do what they did with Civil War.
Also, I would like to point out Blackest Night's the best way to reboot Batman because Batman.
What's Blackest Night?
You want to explain it?
Blackest Night is basically, there had been a war of the Green Lanterns. There's the Green Lanterns and the Yellow Lanterns and the Red Lanterns and the Orange Lantern. There was only one of them. And all these. And then a new form of the Green Lanterns appeared called the Black Lanterns, and they were the Dead Lanterns. And basically, it was a dead person got a ring, and then they were reanimated. And they brought back all the currently dead DC characters and had them fight their friends and stuff like that. And it was really dark. And
One of the plot points is that Bruce is dead, and they go to Bruce's grave to turn him into a Black Lantern.
Yeah.
And it's not Bruce in the grave. Oh. And then Brightest Night comes along, and there's a whole other story there. But I think that story could actually work on screen. But
well, it's funny because I just reread Grant Morrison's whole Batman run. That's what I've been doing. So that that Batman being dead is part of his story.
Yeah.
So I just think again, do that dark story with Batman. Maybe even do that dark story with another character, but Marvel's strength has been doing a different kind of thing with each one of them. Not making... They didn't decide Iron Man's good, let's make everyone Iron Man. And that... that's really where they need to go with this. They need to realize, well, if we want to make a Superman movie, let's make a movie about Superman. Let's not make a movie about, the version of Superman from the Injustice gang, the Injustice game. I got two geek things mixed up there. So, as far as my fixing it, I've already said my President-elect pitch, but the specific story I would go with is, and of course it would have to be expanded and stuff like that, is a story that took place in Action Comics number 775 called What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way. And, which is, of course, something they would never call a movie. There's just too many words and it sounds too happy. They would call it something like Superman Beyond or something.
Well, they've also already adapted that into a
but that adaptation blows.
I like that adaptation.
It's okay.
They called it Superman versus the Elite because they weren't going to call it Superman What's So Wrong with True Justice the American Way.
But the premise is Superman meets a group of heroes that are not at all unlike the current version of the Justice League, where they're all just basically bloodthirsty killers, willing to do whatever to mete out justice. And Superman fights them, and in the opposite of Man of Steel, when presented with the thing of the only way to stop me is to kill me. I'm putting you in a situation where the only way to go forward is to break your most valued rule. Superman, spoiler alert, finds a different way. I think that would be the perfect way to say this is a different thing. And throw President Lex in there for a little marquee value, because that will, there'll be some clickbait articles about that.
Yeah, there would.
I did see Nick Cage has fan petitioned himself to play the next Lex Luthor, and I'm actually okay with it.
I'm down with it.
I am a Nick Cage super fan. I would be way on board with that.
Yeah.
I know Nick Cage will be in any fucking thing you pay him to be in. So, if you're doing it on percentage, Nick Cage's career isn't great, but he's done some of my favorite stuff ever, so I'm super on board.
Cool. You guys got anything? You want to?
Nothing else?
We've kind of touched on it, is that at this point, Marvel does not make movies that are just superhero movies anymore.
Yeah.
Everything is a hybrid movie. It's a superhero heist movie, it's a superhero period piece, it's a, whatever it is.
Yeah. Like Winter Soldier's a political thriller.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like DC definitely needs to get on board for that. Yep. I don't exactly know which. We've talked about. I don't know. Have we talked about on this podcast about our proposal for Green Lantern, the next Green Lantern?
I don't think so.
Where are we? Is that whose theory was that?
Training. Training day.
Oh, yeah, training day. My training day with superheroes. Sinestro is Denzel. Jon Stewart is Ethan Hawke.
That'd be really cool.
That would be great. And then, Batman obviously lends himself to, mystery stories because he's the fucking greatest detective on Earth.
I feel like
that's
the
Red
part
Hood.
we've never gotten.
We've never get Batman the detective.
There's never been a real mystery he's had to solve in any of these
I would love to
movies.
see a mystery Red Hood story. You know what I mean?
People just want Red Hood, period. I think.
That would be dope.
But it's a cool outfit.
Yeah.
Cool outfits trump most things.
Well, it also...
Dead Joker, like that.
Well, it fits into a lot of the things we're talking about. It kind of, in the same way that it extols the same values as the Superman, What's So Wrong with True Justice, the American Way, whatever. The whole idea behind the Red Hood coming back is he does the same thing, where he's just like, I'll do whatever needs to be done to mete out justice. And then Batman, it's a conflict between him and Batman where he doesn't want to kill Batman, but they're feuding over,
the best way to run
right.
Gotham.
What's right, and the best way to really serve justice. And I think that would be a great story for right now, and for the DC universe to kind of take a look at itself. In a movie form.
He could very well be Killmonger to
Exactly.
Batman.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'm gonna say something probably a little more risque that I think should be interjected in that.
Boobs.
I feel there you go.
More boobs in DC movies.
We'll fix it up.
No, I'm gonna say a Robin. I think would be a good place to start.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, that would be 100% a definitive. We're doing this different, and not just a Robin, but a teenage Robin.
I would even
not
say,
where it's just like two dudes hanging out like it was with.
I would
Chris
even say
O'Donnell.
Tim Drake Robin specifically would be my
I
choice.
would get on board with that. He has the coolest outfit.
It forces, because you could say everything's the same. Look, this stuff came before, we got it wrong. But for some reason, Batman takes Tim Drake on as an apprentice, and Tim forces Bruce Wayne to change. Your version of Batman will be different with Tim Drake Robin in there.
Right, and that really works as sort of Batman. That's how Batman Comics was. He was a dark, murderous weirdo until Robin shows up, in Golden Age comics.
So, and then you could do the storyline like you're talking about with Superman, and then all of a sudden, these things kind of work themselves out. And you've interjected story points in there to correct the issues your previous movies had, and you can count them or not count them. Either way, we talked at length about the Marvel Universe on this podcast, or when it was Better or Worse than Transformers, and one of the things we said was Avengers is really the birth of the Marvel Universe. Like, Avengers 1 is when it gets figured out, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then in Phase 2 is really when you see the interjection of these kind of themed movies, these hybrid movies. And I feel like you could have a starting point post Justice League or Wonder Woman 84 or whatever, which is we're going to take these storylines which force our characters to become the characters they should be.
Right.
And whether that's a Robin story or, Superman, it's desperately needed. And I think Shazam is a good starting point.
Yeah.
If Shazam is a hit, you could interject Shazam into those movies, especially a Superman movie.
I'm telling you, because Iron Man was not their biggest comic book character when this all started.
Absolutely not.
So if Shazam blows up and people fucking love it, why couldn't Shazam pop up in a couple more movies? You know what I mean? There's no reason for that not to work.
The Avengers were basically B-list characters at that point. It was all X-Men and Spider-Man.
It's because they sold off all their A-list characters.
That's why they had to make the
That's why
movies,
they,
I think Shazam's going to do well, too, because it seems to me made for, like, YouTube, social media, like, that kind of humor.
Man, I've been rewatching Chuck, and Zachary Levi is literally the perfect cast.
I think that movie's going to be good. It looks charming.
I think it'll be fun. Their take on Shazam, is not my preferred take. Where he's still Billy Batson when he's an adult, but I think it works more for modern audience, and it'll be open for more comedy, which these movies desperately need.
Yeah.
So I think it'll probably be pretty good.
And I think Aquaman, they should lean into like Black, like that looks like a Black Panther kind of, with kings and and fantastical elements, like, you know what I mean? That's how Aquaman should line up.
And Black Manta looks cool as hell. Again,
Yes.
cool outfit.
James Wan embraced it, man.
Yeah.
He
It's a
embraced
lot
the
of
looks.
tribes and kings. It's an underwater, it's like a fantastical technology. So I think those two could make parallels. You know what I mean?
Maybe it's a curveball. I think Aquaman should be Indiana Jones. I think it should be Aquaman going on a hunt trying to find some crazy item
Artifact?
that's what he
I would
needs to
love
fight
that.
Orm or whatever.
Well,
it needs to be an
it's
adventure
funny
movie.
you said that. I hear that part of the movie is him trying to track down the trident. Which would be fucking dope.
That would be dope. I like that idea.
A big dude with a trident is inherently cool.
I've loved the trident ever since Hurt told me it could cut Superman.
Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you told me that it could. That's true, right?
I don't know. This may be knowledge.
No,
I didn't keep
it's
up
a
with.
magic trident.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is a magic.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a magic.
magic.
So it can't cut Superman.
Okay,
yeah.
I was like, what?
Superman is vulnerable to magic, but it can cut Superman.
Not just kryptonite.
He's weak to a lot of things.
I didn't know. I only knew kryptonite, and then Hurt's like, no, the trident will
And
fuck him
murdering
up.
people.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything?
We good?
I think we're good.
Okay. Well, so that's our episode on.
Wait, one more thing.
Oh, go for
So, dream casting. Wipe the slate clean.
Who would I dream
Who's
cast?
Superman? Who's Batman? Who's Wonder Woman?
I'm still fine with Henry Cavill.
No, Henry Cavill. There's nobody else who
if
can
we have to
physically
go
do
wait,
it.
yeah, I don't even
Fine.
know. Who would you even go with? I don't even know any other person you could.
How about this? Okay, so Henry Cavill we like as the main Superman. We don't want him recast, but let's say they go with Ian's idea of
A second,
everything's
yes.
its own
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
What's a story, and who would you like cast in that?
Oh, that's even harder.
Well, I can get it going. I can tell you right now. Kingdom Come, John Hamm as Superman. I know there's talk of John
absolutely.
Hamm.
John Hamm, that's perfect.
That's
Yeah.
stupid. But John Hamm as Superman in Kingdom Come would be dope.
Kingdom Come is like the number one DC story I want.
You know, you could still, whatchamacallit doesn't age, so you could still keep Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. You know? I don't know who you'd do as Batman. I can't think of a guy who's the right age, because he's got to look older than Superman.
The problem is John Hamm would have been good for Batman too. Like if you find a younger guy for Superman.
I just think he can. There's a certain dopiness to Superman that's
for
like
sure.
right in the middle of John Hamm's face.
I can see John Hamm delivering like a super cheesy Superman line in just the right
John
way.
Hamm could have also been Shazam. Now that I think about it,
I'm stealing somebody's joke with this. I don't remember who, but John Hamm is one hamburger summer away from being Fred Flintstone. He's a really good looking guy, but it could go so wrong. Really.
That's hilarious.
I'm gonna pull one that we've talked about before. I think it's Joseph who said this. Clint Eastwood as Batman Begins, Bruce Wayne.
Oh yeah, we have talked about that before.
Zach
Batman
Efron.
Beyond.
Batman Beyond. And I think Zach Efron would be
As
a good Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that.
really good.
I'd be on board with that. I'm gonna throw. I'm gonna say Idris Elba as Batman
I would get totally on board with that.
because he is a little bit older.
Yeah.
He's definitely got the sly
I'm saying
rich
in
guy.
your like.
I could get on board with that.
Yeah.
He's like, he's older, and
Grizzled.
I think there's talk of maybe we should recast Superman as a black guy if they want to show some balls.
Yeah.
Recast their top guy, recast the marquee value as a black guy, make Idris Elba Batman.
The only thing about the Superman thing that bugged me was it was Michael B. Jordan as the choice, and that's just lazy casting, in my opinion. He's going to be good in whatever you do. So
Yeah.
To my earlier point, also, I think that now is a good time for Superman to be a white guy.
Yeah.
Black guys don't need to learn the lesson of Superman.
I'm okay with
White guys need to learn the lesson of Superman.
that's fair, man.
Yeah, I feel like Superman's one who I'm okay with switching races, but Superman is like never had a mask on and he's always been white. Unless I'm confused about
Earth
that.
2 Superman, right?
Well, there is. It's not
Unless I'm
Earth 2.
confused.
It's Earth 21, I believe.
21.
where he's essentially Barack Obama.
Oh, really?
Superman is the president.
Isn't he a Zod too?
He might be. I don't know,
think
but
he
he's
is,
like
yeah.
his name is Calvin Ellis instead of Kal-El, and he's the president of Earth, and he also leads an interdimensional team of the Justice League called the Justice League Incarnate, which I'm pretty into.
Who would we like as like a Sinestro
Mark
Green
Strong.
Lantern?
No, it's got to be Mark Strong.
in our training day.
That was going to be my
Yeah.
my
What do
training
you
day
think?
because I was gonna cheat on both of them because there already been things that have been cast. But Mark Strong as Sinestro and Common as John Stewart Green
That
Lantern.
would be
I'd get on board.
That was
with
already
That would be
supposed to
good.
happen, right?
I know it was. It was supposed to be in that.
I would also like Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan would probably
As-
be pretty
Actually,
John-
he might be even better.
John
than
Stewart.
I mean,
a little
John-
younger.
John Stewart in his original 70s incarnation was much more angry and militant, so it would be kind of like just Killmonger stepping over and stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck, that would be really good.
I know this has been suggested before, and I still think he'd do a really good job. But Tom Cruise as Hal Jordan.
Yep.
Yep, I'd get on board
I mean,
with that too.
that's like in talks
Yeah,
supposedly.
that's what I'm
would-
saying.
I would
That's
love that.
But
I think
that's
that's
good
perfect.
because it's Maverick.
Yeah, he
I
just
mean,
plays Maverick with
Yep.
superpowers.
And he's on the way up since Mission Impossible. Like, I want to see him do a fucking Green Lantern stunt. You know what I mean? Like some real shit.
right.
Fly off space. Like, drop him out of space.
Also, Bradley Cooper as Hal Jordan.
Bradley Cooper would be
Yeah.
great as Hal
Oh,
Jordan.
that's a good one.
Back
How has
at the
Bradley
time,
Cooper not been cast in any of these superhero movies yet?
Rocket.
back
Oh, yeah,
at the
that's
time
true.
that they cast
Ryan Reynolds.
as him, I was saying Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds should have been Hal Jordan.
His face is too handsome not to be something.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper, in my opinion, is the better acting version of Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
Like, he could do every role Ryan Reynolds has ever had, just probably a little bit better.
I also, this is also someone's joke I'm stealing, but I read someone say lately that Bradley Cooper is a person only attracted to straight white men, only attractive to straight white men, and I kind of agree with that because I think we all think Bradley
He's a
Cooper's
handsome man.
awesome,
He is
but
very
I don't know
handsome.
many girls who are always like, "Oh, Bradley Cooper's so awesome."
Yeah.
That's fair. In the same way that I don't understand Channing Tatum because he's got a weird nothing face.
He's got a square head.
Yeah, I would agree with exactly what you said because Bradley Cooper is very handsome to me.
Yeah, he is.
Channing Tatum
Bradley
as Superman.
Cooper's, if you could say,
Channing
hey,
Tatum
maybe-
is. Hang on a second. What's that?
I could do Channing Tatum as Superman.
Actually, I'm on board with that.
That he did Lego Batman Superman.
Yeah,
He did, that's right.
it's the only movie where he ever altered his Channing Tatum voice.
Yeah.
He didn't even alter his Channing Tatum voice when he was an ancient Roman, but he did for Lego Superman. So I'd be on board with that. Yeah, he's definitely got the build.
Yeah, and he can act better than people give him credit.
He definitely can.
He is what Brad Pitt was 20 years ago. He's a guy that people don't notice that he's a good actor because he's so handsome.
He's actually, that's the right choice to replace Henry Cavill. If they're really going to do that, he would be the one I could see.
Definitely, I don't know why
I can't. I'm just.
He's the right
seems like it
physique.
would be
He's
a
not,
joke.
he's not as good as Henry Cavill, but he could do
It almost seems like it would be a joke, but if you were going super truth, justice, American way, Superman, he can do that.
Right.
I would love to see a Doomsday movie with him. That's my favorite story ever.
I never understood why he was cast as Gambit. Ian would make a better Gambit. There's this film about Gambit that you need that he's just he doesn't have.
Josh Holloway, man.
Josh Holloway would be great. Yeah. That guy's got a film about it.
Mm-hmm. I just can't
think of Josh Holloway.
I just can't stop
movie.
thinking about Channing Tatum breakdancing in the Superman suit.
Well, I tell you who I think Josh Holloway would have been good for. Rick Flag.
Yeah, he would have
Yeah,
been really good for Rick Flag.
Yeah, he would have been.
Fuck, not that dumb RoboCop motherfucker. Why do they keep trying to put him in movies?
That-
He was
he
supposed
looks
to be,
like a meth
It was
head.
supposed to be Tom Hardy, wasn't it?
What?
It was supposed to be Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
It was supposed. You're right about that. Yeah.
That movie is full of people that Hollywood just keeps trying to make
Yeah,
happen.
that's your Captain Boomerang guy.
Yeah, Jay Courtney. They just want him to happen so bad.
But I kind of like Jay Courtney.
He was the best part of that movie. But
We're just yelling now.
Guy Courtney is not the best part of that. movie.
He is the best part of that movie.
Margot Robbie.
wait, but what is a better part than that movie?
Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is unequivocally the best part of that movie,
Okay.
I think. Besides that,
Okay. For 95% of that movie, she is the best part of that movie. But the part of it where she's awful, her speech in the bar, pisses in the whole fucking pool. It
She
ruins
loses
the entire
accent a
role
couple
for her.
times, but
Yeah.
she's great.
I mean, everything in the bar loses the whole movie.
The bar is so bad.
The worst part of that movie, the fucking villain.
is the whole movie.
I fucking hate that movie.
let's not go.
Let's
It's
not
bad.
go down that
It's
rabbit
bad.
hole.
See, when I'm listening to you guys, another joke I read lately that I'm going to steal is the closest you ever feel to being a ghost is listening to a podcast and know the thing that they can't think of that they're talking about and not being able to interact. And that's particularly bad when I listen to you guys because I actually know you guys and I've had those fights with you in person.
Most of the stuff we say we stole off you anyway. So you're the original source.
I had something I was going to say about Suicide Squad, and I totally lost it in that. What the fuck was I going to say about Suicide?
It's a piece
Never
of
mind.
shit. I think we did a good deep dive in DC Universe.
I have no idea if anyone's going to want to listen to this, but we had a good time doing it.
For sure.
It was fun.
I know I tried to make a point about Hank Hill, and I lost it. That's the main thing I remember about this podcast.
Hashtag real phonies.
Hashtag real fun. I've already forgotten our new name.
I would say that the DC Universe as a whole is worse than Transformers.
Absolutely.
Second.
So you're still doing that, even though it's not that?
It's still a rating system, just not in our title anymore.
That's very confusing. I would say DC Universe as a whole needs to lighten the fuck up.
Yeah.
Get the stick out of its ass.
Tell a fucking joke.
It's 90% of what it needs.
Yeah.
Fuck. We just came out of this. I disagree that that's the main problem, but they do need to do that.
Yeah.
They just need to make a good fucking movie.
I mean, there's also that.
Yeah. But cool. Let's close the book on this one because
Yeah, we just keep rambling.
there's so much random just nothingness.
That's what I was going to say. Okay, that's what I say. Whenever I'm listening to you guys and you're all like, okay, let's stop before we go on the tangent, that's always the spot where it's getting good. You guys need to go with your instincts and go with the tangent.
Okay.
I'd agree with that. I'm always getting cut off on my tangents.
I don't know if I should have done an on-air critique. That was kind of a dick move.
That's fine. Anybody else?
Take us out.
Wait, what are we reading?
No, we're getting there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, that's the DC universe. What's wrong with it and how we'd fix it. So next we're gonna do what are we gonna? What I don't know why I cut you off. I just did the recap and said what are we reading? But what are we reading
No, you're good.
and watching?
Well, you guess first, man. last week, 2 weeks. What you been into?
I just said I'd done a deep dive on Grant Morrison's Batman, which if you've never read it, it's a great run on Batman. The premise that it takes is that every Batman story is in continuity, which is not true of most DC characters, and they make some pretty far stretches to keep some of them in continuity. But it's a real fun read, and I highly recommend it to anybody.
It went on for a long time, right?
It went on for a long time and over multiple series, and it's where the Death of Batman story takes place. It's where Dick Grayson as Batman and Damian Wayne as Robin, which is super fun. Some of the most fun Batman.
Yeah, most people don't realize that Dick Grayson is the Batman when Damian Wayne comes along.
Yeah, and it was super fun. It was also, actually, what I'm watching in the future tonight, me and Sarah are going to watch Halloween to prepare for Halloween.
Ooh,
the
cool.
third time this movie's been called Halloween.
You know what's interesting to me about that is everything we've talked about ignoring shit. Halloween is a perfect example of saying, screw everything you already watched. We're making another movie.
Which
and
they've
everyone
done
knows
twice
that.
already.
That's true.
And everyone knows it.
And you accept it.
Yeah, that's fine.
And this
that's
one-
a good point.
This new one looks just awesome.
It looks
great.
really good. I am not a horror person at all.
Me neither.
You know that about
Yeah.
me. I despise horror, but I like John Carpenter a lot,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm so glad he came back to do the
Yeah, the
music.
last Halloween I really liked was H2O, and that's the last one with Jamie Lee Curtis.
right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And they're ignoring that one, I know, but I think this looks really cool.
Yep.
So I think it's gonna be
Cool,
good.
man.
I watched a couple of movies. I watched Black Panther again on 4K.
Do you say that every week?
I do.
You say you watch Black Panther again every week?
We could go back and count, but it's at least every other.
Dude, I watched that movie a lot. I watched Creed because I was so excited for the Creed 2 trailer. That movie I did not realize it's just like a ghetto Rocky. They're using a lot of lingo, like they're calling people light skinned, and they're it's just like Philly speak. You know what I mean? And there's an iconic run instead of he's going up the art museum stairs, he's got black people on motorcycles doing wheelies behind him. It's a ghetto Rocky, and I love it very, very much.
It's a really good movie.
Yes.
I watched Rocky recently, and it's fun how much they parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has me really jazzed
Great
up.
use of soundtrack in Creed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing Ryan Coogler does really, really well.
And I read a comic book. Have you read Heroes in Crisis?
I have.
What do you...
I have complex feelings.
Yeah, so Heroes in Crisis, I heard about it. It's like the new DC, multiple, big story arc. And I've been trying to read more comics because it's, something I wanted to do. And I got the first one, and basically it's like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman start, a safe haven for heroes who are dealing with, psychological stress.
PTSD, that kind of thing.
PTSD, and there's a mass shooting at it. And you find out that Superman, the way the story's framed is the three of them find out and they go there. It's called Sanctuary. Superman gets there first. He's so much quicker, and you see the story through his eyes, and he's just walking across all these dead bodies. It's a school shooting kind of. You know what I mean? And you see they kill Rebirth because Rebirth was brought back because of the Wally Flash.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. They kill the Wally Flash.
Yeah.
And they kill who's the other? There's one other big name.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Then a lot of captains. I don't know. There's a lot of littler characters.
There's a
I had
lot
to
of,
Google them. Not ones I knew. I had to
There's a
Google
lot
them.
of Blue Jay and let's see who else. One of the guys from the 90s Teen Titans that nobody remembers.
But anyway,
There are two Wallies right now, right?
No, there's just one Wally, and they killed him.
yeah. So
Or,
anyway,
allegedly, it's the first issue. We'll see.
and then you basically run into the end of it. Though I'll get quick. Is you find out Harley Quinn's still there and Booster Gold.
Right.
And they are both blaming each other for the murders. And it looks like Booster Gold has a psychological breakdown. It's it looks really real time with what's going on now. It's interesting. It's very depressing in where they were going with Rebirth, trying to make it light. They're completely chopping Geoff Johns at the legs. You know what I mean?
I honestly think it's a mistake. They're looking at the things that it was a quality issue. It was a well written comic.
Yeah.
It was definitely a well drawn comic. It really undoes a lot of the goodwill that they built with it. And I'm not going to try not to be as spoiler as Ian was just then, but it wants to be Identity Crisis so hard. I don't know if you guys ever read that, but it wants to be that. And that is not a comic that has aged well. It is as the kids say these days, problematic. They make a choice with a character that I just adore. That if they stick with it, it might be unforgivable for me.
It's heavy, man.
I need to hear that after. But
I want to hear that after we stop.
Yeah. So I watched Mindhunter. If you guys haven't watched Mindhunter on FBI on Netflix, it's the beginnings of the BAU Behavioral Analysis Unit. Like, I don't watch a lot of TV anymore, but I binged that in a weekend, and it's very good. David Fincher did it.
Hopefully we'll talk about
It is very well done.
Very
that's
good.
it.
I went back and kind of like mixed up watching some things I had watched. I kind of alternated things I have seen, things I hadn't seen. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is on Netflix, and I adore that movie.
It's phenomenal.
It might be the best comic book movie.
It's very, very likely it could be one of Edgar Wright's best. Also, if you're in that movie, you also have to be in a comic book movie, apparently. I rewatched Ready Player One. Good times, a lot of fun.
How was that? Good?
Man, I really like that movie. I liked it more the second time than I did the first time.
I haven't watched it yet.
I need to watch that again. I watched it once, and I don't remember much about it.
I watched a video essay that just kind of like tore it down, both the book and the movie.
Yeah.
And now it's like tainted my entire view of it.
You like anything that shits on something else, so I could see why that would.
That's true. That is your vibe.
It is.
You're a negative Nancy.
I watched Isle of Dogs, which is adorable.
Is that the Wes Anderson?
Yes, it is.
It's a little slow, but
Man, it's a good movie, but I could not handle, as an owner of, 3 to 20 cats, I could not handle its anti-cat slang.
it's super anti-cat.
It's very anti-cats.
One thing my wife didn't super enjoy, she didn't really complain about it too much, but there's no subtitles or anything. So when they're speaking Japanese, like
That's it.
you don't know what they're saying, which is fine. It's not a hindrance to the movie, but it is an interesting choice. I watched The Greatest Showman, which has got to be one of the most overrated movies ever made.
Everyone tells me it's the best music. No?
The music is okay at best, and the acting is atrocious. The plot is terrible. I have no idea why that movie is as famous
Is
as
Zac
it is.
Efron good at it?
Zac Efron and Zendaya are probably the best part.
Okay.
I watched like 15 minutes of it and thought I was being punked. I kept waiting for Ashton to pop out.
It's not good. There's little to no character development in it. I can understand why people can relate to it, but as for a movie, it's just not a well-made film. I rewatched Solo, and I still don't really get why people shit on it so much. That is like...
I tried to rewatch that too because I bought it on 4K. Oh, that's why I rewatched everything, and I can't get through it. I keep falling asleep.
I fucking love it. I love every second of it. And more than I love the movie, I love the fucking deleted scene with Han and Chewie having a snowball fight.
I haven't seen that.
I want my funeral to be that on a loop.
I think this may be somewhat blasphemous. I think John Powell's score is the best score since Disney took over Star Wars. I think it's better than The Force Awakens and Last Jedi. John Powell's score is incredible in that movie, and just, man, I will give you this. The first 15 minutes, which are super, the other two guys who were directing the movie, are the worst part of the movie for me.
Yeah.
Once you get off of Corellia, that movie picks up, and it is a shit ton of fun.
The first 15 minutes are the movie that I thought it was going to be, going in thinking I was going to hate that movie, and then it turns into the movie that it actually is and completely won me over.
Yeah, I can never make it to them actually meeting Woody Harrelson. So
Dude, you hardly make it into the movie at all.
It gets me quick.
But as soon as
at the war scene where they meet Woody Harrelson, that's where it kind of gets me.
As soon as you get to that point, I think that movie's a blast.
I got to give it another
And
try.
then I started Smallville because I've never watched it. And
There's a lot of it.
yeah, there is. It's going to take me a long
That's
time.
not going to age well.
It's not off to a great start. But the one thing I want to say about it is in the second episode, he fights a bug man. And that bug man drives around in a yellow Beetle, because of course, listening to Papa Roach. Because if you didn't want to know enough that this guy was a bug man, he has to drive a bug while listening to bugs.
See, you've maybe talked me into giving that show another try.
I want to watch that episode.
What? I'm kind of on board with this.
I kind of like that.
I cut my life it. I was like, that motherfucker is listening to Papa Roach right now.
If you guys ever do a Smallville episode, you should invite my buddy Sam McLean. He's a super fan. You can just invite him, and then the three of you all leave the room, and he can tell you everything that ever happened on the show ever.
That's crazy. Joseph, you were in New York, so did you watch anything?
Oh, no, I had a plane ride and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I thought
you would talk to your wife. What? No, go ahead.
I've been watching Attack on Titan. I got caught up this weekend. Still really solid season, but we have so much more to go, and that's very exciting. On the plane ride up there, I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox, also Wes Anderson, also stop motion. It's not as good as Isle of Dogs. Isle of Dogs, I think, is
Hard
better.
disagree.
I mean, that's fine.
I disagree as well. I'm with you.
Fantastic Mr. Fox, one of my favorite, maybe in my top 20 movies ever.
I really liked it, but I think Isle of Dogs is better.
Bryan Cranston in Isle of Dogs is so great.
He's so good. And I watched half of Tomb Raider
Ugh.
With
And-
Alicia Vikander?
Yeah,
Is it good?
and then turned it off, and then watched, and then
Worse
watched
than Transformers.
half of game night, turned it off, went back to Tomb Raider for 10 minutes, and then just turned everything off and waited for the plane to land.
Was Tomb Raider that bad?
I heard Game Night was pretty fun.
It wasn't that great.
I was hoping this was going to be one of those stories where they say that air travel makes people emotionally susceptible
Yes.
to movies, and like Tomb Raider had made you cry. That's really what I was hoping the story was going to be.
Has Dominic West in it.
I know, and you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Dominic
Are we
West.
saying that as a good thing?
Yeah,
Yes.
The Wire.
Guys, The Wire is the
also-
only thing Dominic West has ever been good
I
in.
love John Carter.
You are the only one.
I've that movie. I can't think of a movie-
300?
I don't think John Carter is bad, but I certainly would say I love it.
I love it. Was the year
He
that
was a jackass in 300.
But he's good at it.
the year that John Carter came out. It was my favorite movie.
What?
I swear to God.
That's another movie I can't
I'm
get
sure
through.
somebody could go back and read a list of movies about that and prove me wrong on that.
Look, it's
but
not
in
that
my
bad.
memory,
No, I'm pretty sure that's true
Have
because
you gone back to
I
it?
was working at the theater then, and I'm pretty sure you were
fucking
talking about
loved
that
it.
the whole year.
My whole thing was like, let that guy take over Star Wars.
Yeah, but the thing about Dominic West that I was excited about is that dude has an incredible voice that like he's never done voice work, and he's still like a live action character in this. But the first like 10 minutes of the movie, may not that long, is just his like introduction monologue narration of you know the legends and whatever of what's going on. I was like, damn, why doesn't this dude do this all the time? Kills me. But otherwise, it was fucking awful. So
He
don't
always
watch
did
it.
sound good spitting those wire
I
lines.
know.
Chicken nuggets. There's so many good things there.
So here's,
right.
here's a good show.
So I
That
think
it?
that's it.
Yep.
Oh God, I don't even know where to reach us yet. We don't. We don't have an email address.
By the time this happens, there will be one.
Yep, and we'll have to figure it out. But
We'll
you know,
follow it'll
rate-
be on,
rate
you'll
and
still tweet on the
subscribe.
old social stuff, right?
Yeah, I'll tweet us on the. I'll tweet it from the old social.
But yeah, look forward to our new social media platforms and things for our new show.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Thanks for
We'll
listening.
get there.
Thanks for
It
listening.
sounds
guys.
like you guys are plotting something. Am I getting murdered at the end of this? This doesn't sound like the real thing you're talking about. Like you're speaking in code.
This is all fake.
Okay.
We're here to murder you.
We're really the phonies.
But thanks to Brian Velasquez for our theme and for me for our word art for this week. And I guess we'll see you guys next week.
We're real professional. Later, y'all.
Have a good one, guys.